Evening, there are disturbing pictures showing the inside of a home where the Department of Children's Services placed a 2-year-old boy. 4 months later, he was dead.
And tonight, our investigative reporter Ben Hall reveals DCS ignored warnings from inside its own agency that the home wasn't safe.
He was definitely my photogenic baby. He loved having his pictures taken.
Rachel Green knows her son's short life was not easy.
He loved the softness, and he would not go to sleep without it.
She still has the blanket she knitted for Zephaniah and some of his favorite toys.
He was kind of the typical little 2-year-old with all the energy, running around.
But she's haunted by memories of the day the Department of Children's Services took him from her.
I have 3 kids. I was a single mom, and I started out young. I mean, I was trying to do the best that I could.
DCS had environmental concerns about the cleanliness of their home and feared the children weren't being bathed and fed properly. But it was an allegation that Zephaniah's brother may have been choked by an older kid that was the final straw.
They told me that they want to place the kids in a safety placement.
DCS said the children would be safer living at a relative's home in Warren County, and Green reluctantly agreed.
So one way or another, if I didn't do it willingly, they were going to do it anyway.
4 months later, little Zephaniah was dead. Photos from the investigation show the deplorable conditions inside the home where DCS placed the children. Dirty dishes piled high in the kitchen, unusable bathrooms and bedrooms, even drug paraphernalia.
I was horrified.
Attorney Robin Moore says the death was preventable.
There was just nothing safe about this home from the beginning, and they knew it. And that is what is so heartbreaking about this case.
Zephaniah died after he and his caregiver fell asleep in this recliner. When she woke up, she said Zephaniah was blue and unresponsive. His caregiver reenacted the scene for investigators using a doll. Zephaniah was pronounced dead at the hospital. Records state the caregiver appeared to be under the influence. She tested positive for meth and oxycodone, but was never charged. An autopsy could not determine a cause of death.
And not only place them there, but leave them there with a woman who is using street drugs is just unthinkable.
Unthinkable, Moore says, because DCS investigators were warned not to place children in the home. Records obtained by News Channel 5 Investigates reveal that prior to placing the children in the home, a DCS investigator in Warren County inspected the home and advised verbally and in writing that she did not find the home to be a safe placement for the children. She added, in Warren County, if children were found to be placed in such an environment, they would be removed.
If they knew from the get-go that this place is not suitable, they should have never done it. They should have let me know, okay, we can't safely put these kids here.
DCS's own investigation found that on the day Zephaniah died, the home was in the same appalling condition it was during the initial inspection.
The state utterly and miserably failed to protect these children.
And although Zephaniah's caseworker was required to visit him once a month, no visits were ever made because workers said it was too far to drive.
The department's own report states that these children had no oversight for 4 months, and that likely would have continued but for Zephaniah's death.
That internal report blasted 2 DCS investigators who were found to be negligent and incompetent. But Moore says the case raises serious concerns about the other 7,000 children currently in state custody, where they are and how often they're being checked on.
We don't know how many times it's happening, and the only reason that we know it here is because a child died.
In a statement, DCS said, "We express deep sympathy for the loss of this child," adding, in this particular case, the involved employees no longer work for the Department of Children's Services.
This shouldn't have to happen to anyone else. A parent shouldn't have to bury their kid. No parent should ever need to do a funeral for their child.
And in a final insult, DCS refused to pay for Zephaniah's funeral because they said he wasn't actually in state care, that his mom had agreed to the placement.
If he had stayed with me, he'd at least still be alive, and nobody can tell me that I'm wrong on that one.
Now, we did not name the caregivers because they were not charged, and they told us they repeatedly asked DCS for help but didn't get any, raising larger questions about the safety of children in DCS care.
All right, thanks, Ben.